Viewers expected motivation and a powerful comeback story. Instead, they saw pure chaos unfold. On February 9, 2026, during the premiere of The Climb Within, the Netflix-backed series meant to spotlight Meghan Markle's reinvention, the energy shifted fast. What was framed as her rise from Woodland Hills to global figure suddenly felt tense and uncomfortable. The calm, polished image didn't land the way it was supposed to. The timing made it worse. Just minutes before the episode streamed worldwide, Page 6 and the Daily Telegraph released yacht photos from 2014. The images reportedly showed Meghan, then known as Rachel Meghan, on a luxury boat in the Mediterranean. Online users claimed high-profile names were present, with some identifying figures such as Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein in the background. Social media lit up instantly. Hashtags like #YachtGirlMeghan and #TheClimb. UNRAVELS started trending within hours. Comment sections moved fast, and speculation spread even faster. Forums began analyzing the images frame by frame, comparing jewelry, outfits, and past public appearances. Some creators used AI tools to debate whether the photos matched her earlier modeling years. It turned into a digital storm overnight. On TikTok, side-by-side clips compared scenes from The Climb Within with the resurfaced yacht images. Viewers questioned timelines and past connections, turning what was meant to be a powerful brand reset into a full-blown controversy. The rebrand moment quickly became a pressure test, and the internet was not holding back. The outcome, a perfect storm, and Meghan Markle walked straight into it. The Climb Within, produced under the Archewell Media banner in partnership with Netflix Originals, had been in the works since late 2024. It was marketed as the untold journey of a woman who turned silence into strength. The goal was clear: position Meghan as a modern icon who faced pressure, stood tall, and built her own empire. The series followed a dramatic, almost cinematic arc. Childhood in Los Angeles, raised by a single mother, feeling like she never fully fit in. Education, earning her way into Northwestern through scholarships and side jobs. Career, moving from small roles to Suits, pushing back against what she described as Hollywood's limiting standards. Love, marrying a prince and feeling misunderstood inside a centuries-old system. Rebirth, stepping away, launching her brand, rebuilding her identity on her own terms. When the episode streamed globally at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Meghan delivered a powerful monologue. She framed herself as self-made and independent. Every opportunity I created. No one handed me anything. I was never invited. I built my own table. It was meant to inspire. Instead, it sparked questions. As viewers processed her words, social media filled with resurfaced yacht photos showing her in luxury settings, smiling among high-profile figures. One image showed her seated beside Prince Andrew, his arm resting near her shoulder. In the background, Jeffrey Epstein was visible at the same gathering. Another photo captured her on the lower deck. The contrast between the documentary narrative and the resurfaced images fueled intense online debate, and the timing could not have been worse. One photo showed Meghan mid-laugh as an unidentified financier leaned in close to speak with her. No visible publicist, no tight security, no staged pose, just a relaxed moment on deck. Within minutes, online fact-checkers and image analysts claimed they had time-stamped and geolocated the photos to a private Mediterranean yacht charter in summer 2014. That date raised eyebrows fast. In The Climb Within, Meghan had described that same period as a grind, working long hours in Toronto, budgeting carefully, building her career step by step. The contrast hit hard. On one side, the self-made hustle story. On the other, images showing access to elite spaces and powerful circles. The internet wasted no time pointing out the gap. The backlash didn't just focus on Meghan. Netflix got pulled into the storm, too. Reports claimed the platform invested around $18 million into production and global licensing. Within hours of the broadcast, early streaming analytics estimates suggested a sharp spike in subscription cancellations. A leaked shareholder update referenced internal concern, calling the situation one of the company's biggest reputational challenges in years, drawing comparisons to past controversies like Cuties in 2020. Sources close to leadership reportedly said Netflix had editorial control over distribution but relied on signed declarations that the content reflected personal experience. An internal review allegedly found no reference to Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein, or any 2014 Yacht event in production files. By midday, media outlets were requesting statements. Archewell's communications line responded with, "No statement at this time." Meghan's spokesperson declined interviews. The silence only made the situation louder. Netflix chose not to comment on the yacht photos publicly. What used to be a classic "stay silent and let it pass" strategy completely backfired this time. Viewers didn't see dignity. They saw avoidance. Major outlets like Sky News and CNN International pointed out that the lack of a fast response looked damaging. One opinion piece in The Guardian even asked straight up, if this was an honest mistake, where is the apology? If it was fabricated, where is the retraction? The silence didn't calm the storm. It made it louder. By the time the final segment of The Climb Within aired, the pressure outside the studio was intense. Meghan, seemingly unaware of how explosive the headlines had become, stepped into what was meant to be her big redemption moment. A live Q&A streamed from Netflix studios in Los Angeles. The setup was polished, a friendly panel, pre-approved questions, a safe space to connect and reset the narrative. But on February 9, 2026, the energy inside the studio felt off. Producers were whispering backstage about the viral yacht images flooding social media. Staff were reportedly told to be ready to cut the stream if anything disruptive happened. What no one expected was that the disruption would come from Meghan herself. The moment she sat across from moderator Asha Brandt, something felt different. Her usual calm presence was missing. Her eyes looked tired, her posture tense. When the first approved question came in, Meghan went off script. "You asked me about climbing. I climbed. But what do you know about climbing when people are pulling the rope from both ends?" The room went still, and just like that, the controlled comeback started slipping through her fingers. Asha hesitated, clearly unsure whether to step in or change direction. The production team stayed silent. Meghan kept going, her voice rising with every line. "People want to paint this as privilege. They don't know what I've given up. They think it was some fairy tale with Harry. They didn't see what I walked away from before him, what I endured before I had the name." The tone shifted from emotional to explosive in seconds. Then, without any prompt, she mentioned Prince Andrew, a name never referenced in the Netflix series and never publicly tied to her story in this way before. "I was close to someone once. Someone who should have protected me. He didn't. He wasn't who I thought. I was naive, and I left." The studio went stiff. The panel looked stunned. No one expected that. What followed felt scattered and raw. Meghan accused Catherine of always being protected and chosen, while she felt judged and pushed aside. She suggested William used charm as a shield. She even questioned Harry's strength, hinting he struggled to stand up within his own family. Then she turned toward the media. "They talk about me like I just arrived one day with nothing. I had people before Harry. I knew people in the family before Catherine, but none of them stood by me, especially not Andrew." The words landed heavy. What was supposed to be empowerment turned into a public vent session filled with frustration and sharp accusations. Millions watched it unfold live. Within an hour, hashtags like #MeghanMeltdown and #ClimbCollapse were trending. Commentators from multiple sides called the moment reckless and damaging. Even outlets that once showed support, including HuffPost UK and Elle magazine, began creating distance. The fallout was instant and intense. By late afternoon, Netflix's PR team moved fast. Promotional clips for The Climb Within started disappearing from YouTube and Instagram. Teasers were wiped, thumbnails pulled. It was like the rollout never happened. Insiders later claimed the company entered emergency talks to review whether any internal content policies had been crossed, especially around disclosure and personal representation. At the same time, Prince Harry, who was not present at the live studio taping, was photographed sitting alone at a cafe in Montecito just an hour after the stream ended. No smile, no phone in hand, just staring into space. The image spread quickly online, and speculation exploded. People began asking if even inside their own home the crisis talks had already begun. This wasn't just a rough interview anymore. It felt bigger. Alliances looked shaky. The carefully built image started cracking. Meghan had spent years shaping a narrative of independence and resilience. Now that story was under heavy pressure, and the storm wasn't slowing down. Behind the scenes, Netflix was facing serious fallout too. What had once been described internally as a bold, brand-elevating partnership was suddenly being labeled one of the company's most challenging investments in recent memory. Back in March 2025, Netflix approved The Climb Within under a renewed content deal with Archewell Productions, reportedly valued at $18 million. The agreement included streaming rights, global distribution, and potential merchandising tie-ins. The pitch had been strategic: create a three-part docuseries that would reposition Meghan, not just as a former royal figure, not as someone defined by controversy, but as a self-made entrepreneur stepping into a new era. Instead, the launch became a flashpoint, and the partnership was now facing questions from every direction. The pitch was bold: not a former royal, not a headline magnate, but a visionary entrepreneur. A woman who built her brand with hustle, not handouts. Netflix executives were reportedly excited. The series was lined up for a Valentine's Day 2026 release, aiming at strong female audiences, global curiosity, and the booming self-empowerment trend. Early trailer testing in January showed promise. Everything looked smooth, until February 9th hit like a shockwave. At exactly 8:43 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, less than 20 minutes into the live premiere of The Climb Within, screenshots of Meghan's alleged 2014 yacht photos started trending across Reddit, X, and TikTok. Digital PR analysts quickly flagged the backlash as real-time and escalating fast. Netflix's internal data teams reportedly activated a red zone alert protocol, normally reserved for major platform crises involving technical failures or harmful misinformation. That's how serious it felt. Within 6 hours, reports claimed global subscription cancellations jumped by over 1.3 million, mainly in North America and parts of Europe. The company's stock reportedly dropped more than 6%, wiping billions from market value by closing bell. Headlines like "Netflix's Meghan mistake" began circulating across major financial outlets. The optics were rough and getting rougher. Behind closed doors, executives reportedly held an emergency meeting. Sources claimed senior leadership, including the CFO and chief content officer, pushed for an immediate contract review with Archewell Productions over concerns about possible inconsistencies in how the project had been presented. The issue wasn't just resurfaced photos, it was the gap between the underdog story sold to Netflix and the lifestyle now being debated online. One viral clip from the series showed Meghan saying, "At 28, I was borrowing shoes for red carpets. My bank account had $200. Internet researchers quickly compared that quote with public event timelines showing international travel and high-profile gatherings during the same era. The contrast fueled even more scrutiny, and the narrative battle was officially on. Questions about past connections didn't slow down, especially online rumors linking her to wealthy circles, including Prince Andrew, years before 2015. Then things escalated again. A reported leak from a Netflix insider revealed internal production notes suggesting that much of the biographical content used in The Climb Within had been submitted directly by Meghan's team without third-party verification. One pre-production email that went viral allegedly read, "Narrative must remain focused on upward struggle. Avoid glam framing of pre-roll era unless tied to adversity." That line alone sent critics into overdrive. Combined with the live interview moment and the unexpected mention of Prince Andrew, reports claimed this may have raised internal concerns around Netflix's content representation standards. By February 10th, multiple outlets reported that Netflix Legal had issued a formal termination letter to Archewell Productions. The letter allegedly cited concerns including breach of public trust, inaccurate self-disclosure, and reputational impact. The company reportedly moved to remove the docuseries from global markets within 72 hours, including subtitled and dubbed versions across Asia, Europe, and Latin America. Financially, insiders estimated unrecoverable costs in the tens of millions once production, marketing, and contract commitments were factored in. Netflix quickly began distancing its brand from the Sussex partnership. One unnamed executive was quoted as saying, "We backed the wrong voice. The issue wasn't control of the camera. It was control of the narrative." That quote spread fast. For Meghan, the ripple effects were immediate. Her upcoming Evermark lifestyle launch, which reportedly included wellness products, fashion basics, fragrance, and short-form inspirational content, was abruptly paused. Retail partners, including Whole Foods according to reports, cited ongoing reputational clarity issues when stepping back from distribution discussions. Industry analysts began calling it one of the most dramatic celebrity brand setbacks in recent streaming history, and the fallout was still unfolding. The situation quickly grew bigger than past influencer or celebrity PR scandals. Archewell issued no public statement, but internal leaks suggested restructuring talks and reported staff exits by February 11th. Meghan's legal team allegedly tried to shift blame toward production handling, yet Netflix sources maintained that promotional framing and narrative direction had come directly from Archewell. According to reports, contractual indemnity clauses protected Meghan from direct financial liability, but that didn't stop the industry reaction. Major trade outlets like Deadline and Variety reported that at least 4 large studios quietly paused development talks tied to Meghan. Projects allegedly included 2 streaming docu-style series and a scripted show loosely inspired by her life. In Hollywood, silence speaks loud. When calls stop coming in, that's the message. Industry watchers said the issue went beyond photos or timeline debates. It became about narrative control in the digital era. Online communities dissect everything: receipts, archives, interviews. Once questions surfaced, the internet examined the gaps with precision. Critics argued the controversy wasn't about one moment, but about inconsistencies stacking up over time. For the first time, Meghan wasn't trending for a speech or announcement. She was trending over what people believed had been left out. Behind the scenes, contracts were reportedly being reviewed and partnerships reassessed. But the most visible impact was personal. What was supposed to be a defining media victory turned into a tense, emotional exchange during the final live Q&A of The Climb Within. February 9th, 2026. Shifted from a planned celebration of reinvention to a moment many viewers described as raw and uncontrolled. Instead of closing a chapter with confidence, Meghan appeared frustrated, calling out the very institution she once said she had moved beyond. And just like that, the comeback narrative flipped into something no one expected. By this point, Meghan had completely drifted from the prepared script. The audience, already shaken by the resurfaced yacht photos and her earlier mention of Prince Andrew, seemed to expect she would pull back and reset. Instead, she leaned in harder. What followed became one of the most talked-about monologues of her post-royal life. "You know what I didn't have? I didn't have legacy. I didn't have someone like Queen Elizabeth whispering, 'We've chosen you.' Catherine had that. She had the fairy tale. I had rejection." Her voice cut through the studio. Her posture was stiff, jaw tight under the lights. The tension was visible. "I worked for everything. No doors were open for me. Not by the palace, not by Andrew, and definitely not by William." Audience members reportedly exchanged uneasy looks. According to later leaks, producers briefly discussed whether to cut the stream, but Meghan kept going. She then turned her focus to Catherine, the Princess of Wales. "Let's talk about Catherine, shall we?" She walked in with the perfect background, the right accent, the right circle, and suddenly she's the future queen. No extreme press outside her door, no constant labels. Then she added, "Me? I walked in and they called me a social climber, a liar, a user." The most striking moment came when she hinted at knowing members of the royal family before her relationship with Harry. She didn't list details, but viewers connected the dots. "I trusted Andrew. I thought he could guide me. I thought he understood what it meant to stand near the crown, but never wear it. I was wrong." The room felt frozen. What was meant to be a polished closing moment had turned into something raw, emotional, and impossible to ignore. The room shifted instantly. When Meghan described Andrew as dangerous, the energy dropped. It wasn't just emotional anymore. It carried serious weight. She didn't give details, but the timing raised eyebrows. Just hours earlier, old yacht photos from 2014 had resurfaced, showing them at the same event. The overlap made everything feel heavier, more complicated, and legally sensitive. Then came a turn no one saw coming. Meghan redirected the spotlight, this time toward Harry. "I thought I was choosing love. I thought I'd found a partner. But sometimes you realize too late. You married the shadow, not the light." The audience froze. She continued, "William always had presence. Harry followed. I tried to make it work. But this whole thing, this life, it was a bet I lost." That line landed hard. In 6 words, a bet I lost. She seemed to shrink years of marriage, global fame, and royal tension into one painful reflection. Social media reacted instantly. Posts flooded timelines with reactions like, "Did she just call her marriage a mistake?" And "That wasn't empowerment, that was fallout." But the sharpest moment wasn't about Andrew or Harry. It was about Catherine. Meghan compared their public images openly. "She can stand there, say nothing, and still be adored. I give speeches, write books, build foundations, and I'm still the outsider." The frustration was clear. It wasn't about titles. It was about trust and perception. Sources later claimed palace aides briefed Catherine on the remarks within hours. What started as a documentary finale had turned into a deeply personal broadcast, one that left viewers stunned and the royal conversation spinning in every direction. Catherine reportedly watched the broadcast live from Windsor. She stayed silent the entire time. Palace aides later confirmed she had no plans to respond, sticking to the royal strategy of quiet composure. That silence spoke volumes. The contrast between the two women couldn't have been sharper, one venting in real time, the other saying nothing at all. By evening, royal commentators started using a phrase not heard since 2020, "dueling duchesses." But this time, many observers felt Meghan was standing on her own. Public opinion was already forming fast, and it wasn't subtle. Harry didn't escape the storm either. Within hours, his past public appearances were turned into viral memes. Old, serious photos resurfaced with captions like, "He left the royal family for this," and "When your love story turns complicated." The internet moved quick, as always. Sources in Montecito claimed Harry had skipped the Netflix studio entirely, staying home during the live stream. One insider described him as quiet and shaken. Another reportedly said, "He's not stepping in this time." The distance was noticeable, and people picked up on it. By the end of February 9th, it felt like Meghan had strained ties on multiple fronts: the palace, the streaming partner, and possibly even her own inner circle. The woman who once framed herself as a symbol of resilience was suddenly being discussed as a cautionary example of what happens when emotion takes over the message. Observers said the fallout wasn't just about resurfaced photos or sharp words. It was about how publicly everything unfolded. By the morning of February 10th, 2026, the ripple effects had expanded beyond streaming headlines. Meghan's carefully crafted image, built through documentaries, lifestyle ventures, and keynote speeches, was now under intense re-evaluation, and the story was far from over. The real shift happened where no publicist can step in: the internet's collective memory. At first, it was subtle. Screenshots from the climb within started getting clipped, edited, and flipped into memes. Captions popped up everywhere. "I left royalty for a rebrand and all I got was backlash." "When you marry the spare but wanted the spotlight," and "the climb within," more like the fall in public. The tone online turned sharp fast. Within 48 hours, tracking accounts claimed over 15 million meme impressions across Reddit and X alone. TikTok creators reenacted Meghan's emotional monologue with dramatic voiceovers, adding digital tiaras and side-by-side clips, comparing her intensity with Catherine's recent calm public appearances. The edits were brutal, and they spread like wildfire, but the jokes were just the surface. Business moves started shifting quietly behind the scenes. Whole Foods confirmed it would no longer move forward with the Evermark lifestyle rollout. Sources pointed to reputational instability and uncertain audience sentiment. Two wellness startups tied to Evermark's organic tea and essential oil lines also reportedly stepped back from previously signed launch deals. The timing said everything. Even fashion PR firm Nightshade, once described as a key player in Meghan's US branding strategy, was rumored to have paused its contract with Archewell's branding division. One executive allegedly remarked off-record, "We guide evolution, not crisis repair." That quote hit hard. What stood out most? The silence from her usual online defenders. Influencer circles that once rallied around her during earlier controversies stayed noticeably quiet. Feminist collectives, podcast hosts, and lifestyle creators who previously offered public support declined to comment. Behind the scenes, the energy had shifted. The narrative wasn't just changing, it was being rewritten in real time, one post at a time. Insiders said several former allies were quietly reassessing their alignment. By February 11th, the ripple effects had reached Hollywood in a serious way. At least 3 reported media projects, including a docuseries on modern motherhood and a scripted dramedy loosely inspired by Meghan's legal battles, were placed on hold. Her talent agency, Endeavor, was said to have removed her from its top-tier event booking roster. That move alone raised eyebrows. Inside Archewell, changes reportedly came fast. 2 communications directors were said to have stepped down within 72 hours of the broadcast. Netflix, after already pulling The Climb Within from circulation, allegedly circulated internal memos calling the situation a serious breach of audience trust. One European content executive was quoted as writing, "The Duchess' strategy was a controlled fire. We supplied the oxygen." That line spread quickly across media blogs. Through all of it, Meghan stayed silent. No press conference, no personal statement, no social media clarification. The Archewell website reportedly showed only a maintenance message. The absence of response became its own headline. Harry was also said to be missing from both public view and internal discussions. Montecito neighbors claimed he'd been spotted walking the property alone, looking tense and withdrawn. British opinion columns soon followed with dramatic titles like "The Prince Left Behind" and "When Silence Speaks Louder Than Words." What started as a celebrity controversy had shifted into something symbolic. Commentators began framing Meghan as a case study in modern personal branding under digital scrutiny. Even traditionally neutral publications ran reflective headlines about image control in the social media era. The conversation wasn't just about one interview anymore. It was about reputation, perception, and how fast a narrative can flip when the internet takes the wheel. The case felt closed, not by a courtroom, but by culture itself. By February 11th, 2026, just 3 days after The Climb Within collapsed, Meghan Markle was briefly photographed outside her Montecito home. Gray coat, oversized sunglasses, no statement, no smile, no entourage, no Harry. She walked past cameras in total silence, and that silence hit louder than any speech. Inside the gates, everything appeared still. Archewell's platforms remained dark. The Evermark website was offline, under review. The inner circle that once buzzed with stylists, media coaches, and branding strategists seemed to have faded from view. What was supposed to be a bold reset had turned into a full retreat. This wasn't just a failed rollout. It was a public unraveling of the most ambitious rebrand of her post-royal chapter. But the final shift didn't come from Hollywood headlines, social media edits, or streaming fallout. It came quietly from Windsor. At 9 a.m. UK time on February 10th, observers noticed an update on the official royal family website. Meghan's biography page, once listed under the Duchess of Sussex, was no longer active. In its place, a brief, archived reference appeared, noting she was not associated with official royal duties. No press conference, no dramatic announcement, just a subtle digital change that carried weight. Later that evening, during an appearance at the Charter of Service Awards in Portsmouth, Princess Anne made a closing remark that many interpreted as pointed. Honor is not bestowed, it is sustained. And truth, even when buried, has a way of resurfacing. The applause was polite, but media circles lit up instantly. No direct names were spoken, no official rebuttals issued. Yet the symbolism felt unmistakable. The crown didn't argue. It simply stood still and let the moment speak for itself. That same night, a reported memo from the UK Home Office surfaced in the Times, claiming that King Charles's legal advisor had formally requested a review of Meghan Markle's UK visa and residency status. The notice did not call for immediate cancellation, but the signal felt clear. This wasn't just symbolic distance anymore. It hinted at legal separation unfolding behind palace doors. Sources alleged that King Charles made his decision on February 9th after watching the now viral clip where Meghan described Harry as the shadow, not the light. One insider claimed the king responded bluntly, "There is no path back." Whether exact words or not, the message being circulated was firm. Reports also suggested Prince William declined to engage entirely, directing his team to route all questions through palace communications. Catherine remained publicly silent. Her only post following the controversy was a photo of a red poppy brooch with the caption, "For those who stand in quiet truth." Observers immediately connected the dots. With Netflix stepping away, Archewell facing uncertainty, and royal ties appearing to tighten shut, Meghan's public reach seemed to shrink dramatically. Yet she still did not issue a statement. No video, no written defense, no apology. Her only confirmed move came quietly on February 11th, when her legal team in California filed paperwork seeking formal protection of personal media materials from future distribution or reuse. It wasn't a press conference, it was a legal maneuver. By this point, the noise outside was overwhelming, but inside her circle, silence. And in moments like this, silence can feel louder than any headline. The legal filing reportedly focused on blocking any unauthorized biographical dramatizations. Translation: Meghan didn't want anyone else shaping the narrative. Not media studios, not insiders, maybe not even Harry. The fear wasn't noise, it was losing control of the story. Inside the Montecito estate, sources claim Harry has been distant but steady. He's said to spend long hours in the library, keeping to himself, avoiding calls, and quietly pausing Archewell projects connected to his name. The energy around them feels different, calmer on the surface, but heavy underneath. Insiders are now whispering about a possible separation, not announced publicly, but understood privately. Nothing confirmed, but the speculation is growing fast. As for Meghan, reports suggest she may be working on something behind closed doors. A memoir, not framed as redemption, but as her version of events told her way. Whether that book ever sees daylight is unknown. What is clear is this: the woman who once said she struggled to be heard now faces a moment where the world has grown quiet. No cheers, no official responses, just stillness. And sometimes silence says everything. If you've been following this saga, drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives like this, and I'll see you in the next one.